have 7 more nights to get through down here on the street at the squat. That will bring us up to day 80 of the Woodward Squat.
Remember, this building's been sitting empty for 10 years, so what's 2.5 months, right? Right now, the elected party, COPE, doesn't get into office until December the 2nd. So I'm asking the chief of police to not enforce any injunction that might come forward, to let the people themselves figure out where we want to go and, you know, to get off the streets. It's getting colder, obviously, and it's time we get off the streets. I'd like to thank the people of Vancouver, everybody that was involved that's let this happen. Without your help, we couldn't have done anything. We wouldn't have tents to sleep in or food to eat. So it's important that the people of Vancouver get a lot of recognition for this too. So I just wanted to thank everybody for coming out, and you know, let's continue the battle. Let's show the government. Let's make them accountable. We voted these people in. Let's make them accountable. Thanks very much.
Gail Marriott, and I've been a long-time activist in the downtown east side for a long time. I would like to challenge Gordon Campbell to do what they did in Holland. The government bought 10,000 units of housing. They put everybody, no matter what their circumstance, drug, whatever, and they pay their rent to the government. They don't have this homeless problem. I would also like to challenge Gordon Campbell to get his butt down here and see what it's like to be poor and homeless. I support the people 100%. And I want to say we need food and donations. So if any of you can help in that way, please do. And the other thing I want to say is, let's all stay firm with the Woodward squatters, and let's not desert them, because they deserve better. I know what it's like to be poor. I'm poor myself. But I really feel that we have a good cause, and we will win. Right, guys?
Welcome, everybody. My name is Rose Henry, and I'm from Victoria, and I would like to welcome everybody to my ancestors' land. This is the land of the Coast Salish people. This is the Burrard people, I believe. So these people are directly related to me in regards to where I'm originally from. I would like to acknowledge, you know, that being homeless, it's not okay in a country that's considered the second most desirable country in the world to live in, because of the way they treat First Nations people here. According to the United Nations Human Rights Standard, First Nations people here in Canada are treated number 67 on the list of 130 people in that. So that is shameful. The only time that we are number one in that is when we are the number one consumers of healthcare, homelessness, unemployment, you name it. Everything else that is discussing is where we are considered number one. Around our housing and that, you know, people always say, well, what about, you know, First Nations and homelessness, and what about homelessness in general? Well, homelessness in general should be shameful in Canada, consider, you know, the amount of resources that we have available. I want to tell you a little bit of a story about how, you know, the provincial government is connected to municipal governments, and, you know, like, I also at this point want to express how proud I am of each and every one of you who voted in a group of politicians who have proclaimed that they really do care. They really do care about the people that live down here. They do have a heart. They do have some compassion in that, because this is something that, you know, the provincial government does not have. This provincial government in that just did an announcement in that with the possibilities of downsizing several more programs. Throughout BC, we've had 47% cuts. Well, guess what? Those 47% cuts to public services and that have a rippling effect on municipal events. And if people don't see the connection, I'll tell you what the connection is for me personally. I work at one of the only emergency shelters in Victoria where we accept homeless women who are there because they're homeless, because of their addictions, because they've been forced to give up their children to foster care. They've been forced, to do a lot of undesirable things. So the municipality says, well, we don't want to have another downtown Eastside Vancouver. Well, another downtown Eastside Vancouver is like, that's the questions I asked. Why not? Because I said that in downtown Eastside Vancouver, at least the people down there, they care for one another. I said they continue to look after each other. So for me, the rippling effect is that, where I work at, 2 weeks ago, they just closed our only downtown drop-in center for these women. So that's a shameful thing. Shame on this government. So what's happened? So what's happened for us in that at the municipal election in that is that I was one of the candidates that ran in the elections, and the reporters there chose to call me a First Nations activist. I asked that reporter how come he didn't identify everybody else's race in that. But anyhow, he never did answer. But the rippling effects is that now our homeless women who are, addicted to everything possible, everything from heroin to crystal meth to Lysol, you name it. They used to come into our drop-in because we had our drop-in open, shortly after the shelter was closed itself. So now all of a sudden they cut our drop-in programs. Now we have these women walking around on the streets and that with absolutely no place to go, because in the city of Victoria we don't have the same size or the same programs that they have here in Vancouver. So, when the impact of the closure of one shelter, one drop-in center has a significant impact on municipal elections. And so now what we have is, like I said, we have these 40 to 50 women every day wandering around town, and that many of them are terminally ill, many of them are suffering multiple addictions. And that's shameful in that, because, now all of a sudden they have absolutely no place to go, and the city of Victoria has done something that is even more shameful in that they brought I believe that they brought the police from here to Victoria and that to help reinforce the bylaw and that says there's no panhandling allowed there. So the women are now so our women are now being exposed to another type of crime, and that they're being charged for being homeless in a subtle way. Way because they can't afford a cup of coffee, they can't get on the buses. There's a lot of things that they can't afford, and the city business people, they're not the most welcoming either. But now they're starting to see the connection. They're starting to see the connection because these women are being asked to get up at 5:30 in the morning, and they're asked to leave the shelter at 7:45 because the shelter closes at 8 o'clock. That's shameful, because we have a perfect center in that where these women can have access to a drop-in where they can have laundry, they can get pre-employment skills, they can do a lot of computer stuff. And now this building sits vacant for 8 hours a day, 7 days a week. That is shameful. And that now, two nights ago, in fact, we had the ambulance and the police and that trying to drop off some of the women at our shelter and that, because the hospitals over there are full of scabies at this point in that. And so they didn't want to bring these women over to the hospital, and they didn't want to take them to jail because they hadn't been charged with anything. So now these women are being forced, once again to either sit in a holding cell in city police stations and that because our shelter's not open. That's shameful.
Super shame.
So that's the rippling effects. That's the direct effect in that on municipal, finances and that. Because I look at the municipal people and say, well, this is shameful that we don't even have a bench. Nowhere in a 12-city radius block in the city of Victoria is there a bench for people to sit on. So that's pretty well what I have to say at this point. And I'd like to say, keep hanging in there. Like, do not move. Do not move from this shelter until they actually find an alternative spot for you to be at. And then at that point, it's like, ask them why they didn't come up with it at this point. So thank you for your time. Haichkasayam.
Thank you.
Tell me, when did it become a crime to be homeless and to live on the street?
Since the first city-state.
Exactly. As working people and people across our communities, it doesn't matter if you live in Nanaimo. I see homelessness in Nanaimo in my community. I see it here every time I come to Vancouver, and it's probably more prominent because of the work that you've done here at the Woodward Squat. You've changed the city of Vancouver. Believe it or not, that's to your credit. You've caused this city to rise up and to take a stand against homelessness and to talk about it. And they talked about it. Now it's time to start doing something about it. Everybody needs a home. Doesn't matter where you live or what you do or what background you came from. You don't deserve to be marginalized like the previous speakers have said have happened. But it's time that we took it back, and we took back the streets, and we took back the housing program, and we pushed federal government to have a national housing strategy that'll help change our world. And I'm here and I'm standing with you, and I've been down here a few times. I was here the night before they kicked you out of there, and I've seen what they've done today. They've boarded up the windows. Well, it's time to open the windows and to let some light shine in. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Louise, and on behalf of the 46,000 members of the Hospital Employees Union, we are with you! And we want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts for being there with us, because you don't talk about direct action, you do direct action! You are direct action! And we thank you! You were there with us on the weekend, the last couple of nights, when we slept out to protest the shipping. Can you believe this? The shipping of laundry to Calgary, Alberta! And you were there to say, like the rest of British Columbians and even my mother who lives in Alberta, how disgraceful that someone would do that. General strike, absolutely. Woo! I'm just here to tell you that I think it's really wonderful, the work that you've been doing on behalf of the citizens of this province and this city and this country, because you have raised the profile of housing as a fundamental human right. Right here, not only here in Vancouver and British Columbia, across this country, but in Geneva. Because yes, the UN has heard about your struggle here and how disgraceful it is that this government in British Columbia would want the Olympics, and they think nothing of tossing you and all of your stuff onto the street, into the garbage. And that is so disgusting. Remember, the people united will never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated.
The people united will never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated.
You've shown the world what this place is all about. And it's about time that the world sees what this place has been doing to our Aboriginal, Indigenous, First Nations people in this province, BC, for the last 50 years since human rights was born. And I think it's an atrocity, it's a holocaust, what we have to live and do every day just to survive and eat. Our children go hungry on a daily basis, and our homes are taken away, our lands are taken away for this illegal treaty in BC. I think the international level should do an inquiry into this province regarding this illegal BC treaty, because it's only for the lawyers and the judges and everyone else in there to get rich, not for us to have nothing as Indigenous people. We have become homeless because of these treaties. They are making policies to get rid of us, to annihilate us as people. And now you have had a taste of what happens to our people. Our human rights have been violated forever, and no one knows about the background of this province. We are the only unceded territory in Canada, and I think that you should stand up with this right now, because it's going to happen to you. You're going to lose. You're going to lose your homes, your family, your lives, your lands, and we have already. And then you stand up with us side by side.
Who's the real squatter?
I've been an international advocate for human rights for the past 40 years since human rights was born. And every day in my lifetime they have committed human rights violations against our people. And for standing up the way you have, many of our people have been killed on this very street for standing for the last 40 years. And I can show you graveyards throughout this province because people stand up against this illegal treaty process. The same judges that are charging you in the Supreme Court have been charging me and our people in this province for the last 40 years. You are standing on alien land. And there is proof in the courts, and I have papers proving that this land is Indian land. And if anyone should have jurisdiction right now, it should be the Indian people of this province, because we have no treaties in this province. And sovereignty under international law means that we never surrendered.
Yes!
And the rest of you Canadians that claim to be Canadians should stand up with us in BC, because if we lose our sovereignty in BC, you also as Canadians will lose your sovereignty. I don't care what happens to me. I'm not supposed to be standing up here because I got a gag order within the last few months from my Grand Chief in the Supreme Court up here, saying that I have no right to speak for my people or to stand on the same ground that belongs to me. If anyone should leave this property and be charged for corruption and everything, it should be the Supreme Court justice system. And if you do a research on all these people that are involved in this treaty, you will find corruption. As well as in City Hall, in Victoria, in Ottawa, it's endless. And you as a people should have a say in what your future has for you and your children. Because that is it is. Our land has become destroyed in the last 50 years since human rights was born. Our water is contaminated. Our lands are clear-cut. They have opened mining companies that have made cancers, endless sickness of cancers in our communities, and yet no one knows what's really happening outside these doors here. It's about time that you start recognizing us and see us as human beings. We are not animals. Animals have more rights. Dogs have more rights, but we are human beings, and we want our land back. We want our rights back, and we want your human rights back as well as ours. I'm really glad to be here. The sun's shining on us today. We've had a really good day. I hope that this shows the world what this place is all about. If they want the Olympics here, they better start looking after their own people, because the Olympics is not welcome in this town. And thank you very much. You made my heart really sore today, because our people have been living this way for 50 years and no one has stood up for us. Now it's all happening to all of us, and it's about time that we stood together. My prayers are with you and my heart is with you. Masito.
The government in 1997, with budget cutbacks, helped in the assisted suicide of my mother. Because of cutbacks, she was in an institution, Victoria. There were not enough people there. The peace BC made me homeless 2 years ago. I stayed in the shelter that Rose talked about. I was homeless. I talked to the politicians. What do they say? Well, we can't help you. Shame.
Liars and frauds.
They are liars and frauds. And I'm sick and tired of being pushed around by the government. I'm on disability. I have rights. I need to be able to pay my BC hydro bill. I do not want to pay those hikes now. I can't afford it. I don't want to pay ICBC rates. I can't afford it. I don't want to be homeless. I can be homeless because of the BC government. Last of all, I think the BC government is trying to make Santa homeless this year. Thank you.
Today, to show your support, we have 7 more nights to get through down here on the street at the squat. That will bring us up to day 80 of the Woodward Squat. After this rally disperses today, we will continue to need your support over the next 7 days. If you haven't already signed up for a witnessing shift, please do that at the reception desk at the corner. We need people to be down here with cameras in case something does happen. The city, the outgoing regime has these 7 more days, and they could still cause damage to us down here. They could send in the VPD. We have to be prepared for that. We need your help over these next 7 days. Please support us.
Yeah.
And don't forget, we're strong down here, and we will win.